Okay, we need this for you.
Oh, it's 3
Welcome, friends. Good morning, and as we say, Shabbat Shalom. We wish you a wonderful and joyous Sabbath or Shabbat. I'm Rabbi Michael Friedman. I'm the senior rabbi here at Temple Israel, and pleased to be joined by Rabbi Ilana Nemitov-Ressler and by Mike Lentowski, our accompanist, and of course by all of you, friends and family of our bat mitzvah via Crucitti, who are here with us in our sanctuary this morning, and those who are with us via our live stream as well. It's a very exciting morning for a lot of reasons. Number one, Via has been preparing for this day for a number of months, more than 6 months, years even. So we are so looking forward to this celebration, this coming of age in Jewish tradition. Via, you will lead a significant portion of our service. You'll read from the Torah. You'll teach us Torah. It's going to be wonderful this morning. And we're also happy to be together. This is actually the first bat mitzvah service we've had in person in our sanctuary in 15 months. We've been doing bar and bat mitzvahs outdoors in our tent. The weather just this morning was very uncooperative for that. So we're so glad that you're here with us. We thank everybody in advance for adhering to the protocols that are still in place here at Temple Israel, which ask those in our congregation to remain masked while you're seated. Those who are coming up for an aliyah or some other honor or leading the service, of course, can remove their masks. So we thank you in advance for abiding by those protocols. Everyone should have in their hands a blue book. Piper, hold that blue book up over your head. Okay, that's what your blue book should look like. That is our prayer book, or what we call in Hebrew our Siddur, and that's the book that we will use to lead us through the service. Rabbi and I will lead, Via will lead part of it as well. And then when Via steps up to read from the Torah, we'll invite you to take out the blue book that's in the back of the seat in front of you. That's our Torah commentary. It has the words that Via will be reading from our ancient scroll. Everybody ready to get started? Okay, great. So you can take that blue book you have right now and turn to page 128 for the words of our Psalms. Hinei ma tovu manayim shevet achim gam yachad. How wonderful it is for us all to join together. Hinei ma tovu manayim shevet achim gam yachad. 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 Hinei ma tovu manayim shevet achim gam yachad.
We turn now to page 291. On page 291, we'll pray together in English, thanking God for our bodies and the fact that they work as well as they do. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe.
With divine wisdom, you have made our bodies, combining veins, arteries, and vital organs into a finely balanced network. Wondrous maker and sustainer of life, were one of them to fail, how well we are aware, we would lack the strength to sustain life before you. Blessed are you, Adonai, source of our health and strength. Baruch atah Adonai, rofeh kol basar, umafli la'asot.
We turn to page 292. 292 has a song praising God for our soul, that it is pure and that we have it within us.
Elohai, Elohai, Neshama, Shenatata bi Tehorahi, Ata berata, Ata yitzarta, Ata nefachta babi. Ve'ata meshamra b'kirbi. Elohai, Elohai, neshama, shenatata bi tehorahi. Hopefully at this point you've gotten a hang of how our prayer book works. And even if the Hebrew is unfamiliar or completely new to you, you see that there's an English transliteration just opposite the Hebrew, and there's also the English translation below the Hebrew. So that's how you can you can choose how you'd like to participate, or offer the words from your own heart while you're sitting here in the congregation today. Via, are you ready to lead the first aspect of the service that you're going to lead? Yeah. Excellent. Okay, so we're going to ask you and Mom and Dad to come up and stand behind your podium. You don't need the book right now, but you do need that talit that Mom brought. Excellent. Mom and Dad are going to stand on either side of you. Now, the day that you become a bat mitzvah is a day when you take on both responsibilities and privileges. And one of the privileges that you take on is that of wearing the talit, a Jewish prayer shawl. Each talit, yep, Mom, you can unfold it. Each talit is rectangular. They're different sizes. Mine is a little bit bigger. That's why I fold it over. But a talit is rectangular, and it has these fringes on the edge. The fringes remind us of all of the commandments, the responsibilities we take on as adults in the Jewish tradition. In this case, this talit is very special because it belonged to your late grandfather. Yeah, I know. Give her a hug. Give her a hug. I know. No, you know what? This is actually a day where crying is totally okay. I mean, because if you're not gonna cry today, okay. So Mom and Dad are going to each take a side of the talit and place it around your shoulders, Via. And in some way, your grandfather is here with us today in the presence of that talit. And now we're going to invite you to lead us in the blessing for wearing the talit.
Okay. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech ha'olam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tivanu lahit atef batzitzit.
Amen.
Hugs and kisses to Mom and Dad, both. Beautiful. You can have a seat.
All of us?
Via, Via, you stay up here, because we're turning now.
Okay.
Oh.
No, stay there. You're on the right page.
Oh, all right.
We turn now to page 313. On page 313, we have the Baruch, which is our call to prayer. So everything we've done so far is kind of a warm-up act for the real service. The Baruch is our collective call to prayer, where we together say, we as the leaders will say, "Are you all ready to pray?" And you'll respond with the second line, "Yes, we're ready. We're here with you." So we invite you to rise and join us on page 313.
Lai, 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 ya la lai, 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 ya la lai, 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 ya la lai, 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 ya la lai, 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 ya la lai, 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 ya la lai, lai, lai. la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la.
Oh,
Please turn to page 314. The world is sunlight, restoring the soul, rejoicing the heart, bringing light to the eyes. More welcome than gold, a Torah from heaven. I have no light to give the morning, my Torah. My special human gift is words. As I bring my words forth from silence, welcome them, you who redeems the sun from darkness. Baruch atah
Adonai, Yotzer HaMe'orot.
Please turn to page 317. We read responsively. O God, inspiration and guide for all, you have spoken in 1,000 tongues for us to hear. In every land and every age, your children have heard you and imagined you in separate ways. And yet, O God, you are one, unifier of humanity.
We give thanks for the sages and teachers who bring us understanding of your will. Gratefully we recall the lawgivers and prophets, the psalmists and sages of Israel. And joyfully we remember that from the dawn of Israel's life, we would turn to you and find purpose.
May the teachings of our ancestors live on in our minds and help their passion for righteousness stir in our hearts. Help us to live so that our daily conduct reveals the beauty and wisdom of your truth.
Baruch atah Adonai, habocher be'amo Yisrael be'ahava. Page 318. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
Please be seated.
Page 319.
Should I start?
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levacha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'otecha
V'hayu
hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha u'vlechtecha b'derech u'shokbecha u'v'kumecha u'kshartam le'ot yadecha v'hayu letotafot bein einecha u'chtatam al mezuzot beitecha u'visharecha leman tizkeruhu va'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'yitem kedoshim le'Elohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem Elohim ani Adonai Elohechem.
We read together in the middle of page 321. Sing the song of men and women, joined in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles, an earth protected and cherished, a gift for all children and the generations to come. The song of a land once ravaged by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more. The song of a world redeemed, the song of peace.
Friends, generations ago, our people were slaves in Egypt. And the miracle of Passover is that we emerged from slavery, but we still were not yet fully free because a sea lay between us and our destination. Pharaoh's army came up behind. We were trapped. And all of a sudden, a miracle occurred. The sea split. We went through on dry land and emerged on the far shore, a free people. And we sang a song of celebration that are some of the oldest words that are contained in the Torah, some of the oldest words in all of Jewish tradition. They are right here on page 322. We know them as Mi Chamocha. Every time we gather in prayer, we replay this moment of liberation and celebration with Mi Chamocha. Chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar ba'kodesh. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar ba'kodesh. Nora tegilot, Osei felech. Sur Yisrael, kuma be'ezrat Yisrael, ufdeichinu mecha Yehuda ve'Yisrael. Go aleinu Adonai tzebaot shemo, kedosh Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai, ga'al Yisrael.
The next section of our service, called Tefillah, or the Amidah, is called that because Amidah means standing, and we rise together for it. Don't worry, I'll tell you to stand in a moment. The Amidah is our central prayer of Jewish worship. It's traditionally recited 3 times a day, and I like to think of it a little bit like a thank you note. We begin by reintroducing ourselves to God and saying where we come from, invoking our ancestors. We thank God for God's strength, and then we thank God for the day we have, in this case for Shabbat. And at the end, because we want to make sure we've thanked God enough, we thank God for peace and for all the wonderful things in our lives, and also for accepting our worship. So I invite us to rise on page 323 as Via will lead us in the Amidah. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi agid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. 324. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avoteinu ve'imotenu. Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanorah, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekonei hakol, Vezocher chasdei avot ve'imahot, Umevi geula livnei v'neihem, Lema'an shemo be'ahava, Melech ozer u'moshiach u'magid, Baruch atah Adonai, Magin Avraham, Bezrat Sarah. 325. Atah gibor le'elam Adonai, Mechaye hakol atah rav lehoshia, Morid hatahal, Mechalkel chayim bechesed,
Mechaye hakol berachamim rabim.
Somech noflim verofei cholim. Umatir asurim. Umekayem emunato lishenei afar. Michamocha ba'al gevurot umido melach melech memit umechaye umatzmiach Yeshua v'ne'eman ata lahachayot hakol baruch ata Adonai mechaye hakol.
Middle of page 326.
מקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב היה נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך כל הארץ, כבודו.
327.
אדיר אדירנו אדוני אדוננו, אדיר שמך בכל הארץ, ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו, הוא מלכנו, הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו, ברחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון, לדור ודור. Hallelujah.
328.
דור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש. ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
We continue together in the middle of page 330.
And I'll invite everyone to be seated.
On this Shabbat day, as
To graciously
you
receive our prayers. Together, everyone.
Help
us to hear your call. Grant us enough health to fulfill our duties and the compassion we need to attend to others. Teach us humility that we may perceive our own faults. Grant us the wisdom to be forgiving of others. Give us the courage to be true to our highest selves, the charity to see the best in those around us. Give us patience enough not to become discouraged, hope enough to overcome all fears for the future, and faith enough to know your presence. O source of blessing, look with favor upon us. May our offerings be acceptable to you. We praise you, Adonai, whom alone we serve in reverence. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otecha levadcha b'yira na'avod.
At this point, we want to invite Piper up to offer a reading about Shabbat as well. This can be found, I believe, on page 359 at the bottom.
259.
259, thank you. Piper, come on up.
Piper, bring your book.
Would you move the little step
yeah,
behind
of
the
course.
podium? It's a prayer for peace. A prayer for, we can never have too many prayers for peace, especially these days.
You need your book, Piper. I don't have it in mine.
Here you go. Wait, I got it. Oh, Mom's got it. Okay. Of course, Mom to the rescue. Excellent. Okay, wait. And you need the microphone. Not that she needs a microphone. You guys know. I mean, really. But that's only for the people at home on the live stream. Okay.
I can see it. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bond of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of our world. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praise you are Adonai, who blesses your people with peace.
Baruch atah Adonai, hamarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom.
Amen.
Good job.
Hugs and kisses to your
That
sister.
was amazing. What? Well, be careful, be careful.
And Piper, you'll have a chance to do a little bit more in the service, just in a few moments.
Now, Via, will you tell us what we're doing next?
Please turn to page 337, O say shalom, or prayer of peace.
There we go. 337, O say shalom. O say shalom bimromah. Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. You may be seated, Via, with your family. Yep, you're all good. You're all good. So, friends, we've had a chance to pray using beautiful words, some of them ancient, some of them modern. We've had beautiful music, thanks to Mike and your two vocally challenged rabbis. But now is an opportunity to offer the prayers of our own hearts. You don't need any book, you don't need any words on any page. You just need to look into your heart and find the words that are written there that you would like to express at this time. Perhaps prayers of gratitude, perhaps prayers for healing or strength, perhaps your own prayers for comfort and peace. May we be inspired by the beauty of this day, the beauty of our gathering, perhaps even the beauty outside of our windows, as we take a few moments for silent prayer. Friends, we're about to transition to the reading of the Torah. And in order to pass the Torah into Via's arms, we invite her to stand next to her parents, her grandparents, and her great-grandmother. Here, maybe even stand in front of the podium so everyone can see you guys. And we ask everyone else to rise as we open our ark and bring forth our sacred scroll. How wonderful it is that we have 4 generations together, because today is nothing if not a celebration of the generations that have brought us to this place. You see, via 100 generations ago, hard to even to conceive of such a number, 100 generations ago, our people, the people of Israel, were given this gift, this Torah. It contains all of the lessons one needs, we believe, to live a good life, a life of virtue, a life of helping and healing the world. And we've treasured it ever since. We've passed it down to each new generation when that generation has come of age. And so, on this, the day of your bat mitzvah, the day of your entering Jewish adulthood, we pass this scroll to you as so many generations have done before, on this day, with great love. You hold it, you're good. In this scroll is the secret of our people's life from Sinai all the way to today. It teaches us love and justice, goodness and hope. Freedom is its gift to all who treasure it, and we sing Shema together. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo.
Oh, I don't have the blessing after. Oh, yes, I do. Yes, I do. You're doing great.
Thank you.
It's kind of just one.
Okay. What? Oh.
Go on this side. Okay.
Excellent. Piper, thank you for helping us undress the Torah scroll. We always take off the cover and the yad. This is called a yad, which in Hebrew means hand. If you see at the very tip of it, there is a hand with a finger pointing, and that is how we read the scroll. We try not to touch the scroll with our fingers because the scroll is written by hand on parchment, so treated calfskin or sheepskin, which we know over time can get corroded or can get corroded by the oils and the dirt and the germs on our hands. So we use always a silver yad to point to the words and to read them. Every single Torah scroll is written by hand by a trained scribe. This is a beautiful Torah. You can stand in between. It's a beautiful Torah scroll that was gifted to our congregation by a family just a couple of years ago. And we read the Torah in each synagogue around the world. We read the Torah section by section throughout the year. We will be reading from a section toward the end of the book of Exodus. It's called, remember we were talking about it downstairs, it's called Vayakhel, which means God brought everybody together. You brought everybody together today. And Via, I want to remind you that when we were first discussing this Torah portion a number of months ago, you and I, and we read it in English together, you said, it's like a gigantic craft project. And indeed it is, and I loved that definition so much. There are some parts of the Torah, as I mentioned, Torah is 100 generations old. It's really, really old, like 3,000 years old. And some parts of the Torah seem really hard to connect to. This part of the Torah is about the building of the Mishkan. The Mishkan was that tent that we carried with us through the desert. Yes, also known in English as the tabernacle, exactly. That was essentially the house of God. God lived in this tent, and we would all approach the tent when we wanted to communicate with God, talk with God, worship God, sacrifice. Exactly. In those days, it was sacrificing animals. I'll have more to say about that. You will have more to say about that later as well.
I know my Torah portion, my Devar.
In your Devar Torah, exactly. And this Torah portion is about the construction of the tabernacle. All of the materials, the metals, the woods, the yarns, the crystals, everything that was used to create the tabernacle. And I loved the description of it as a gigantic craft project with all of that creativity and color that comes along with it. Okay? You'll have more to say about the Torah portion, as will I. Everyone can follow along with us in that book that's in the back of the seat in front of you. It should say, or not it should, it definitely does, say Torah. If you're in the front row, it's directly beneath your seat. And so it is on
612.
Page 612. Page 612. Thank you, Rabbi. And Via will read her Torah portion in 4 segments. Friends and family will come forward for the honor of the aliyot, saying the blessings before and after each section.
So for that first aliyah, for the first honor, we want to invite up Barbara Brandenburg, Bob Miller, Lauren Barnett, Jordan Barnett, Zoe Barnett, and Sasha Barnett. Ya'amdu, Yisrael ben Shmuel, Leah bat Pinchas, Yaakov ben Abraham, Tzeda Levana bat Yisrael, Sarah bat Yisrael, Barbara la'aliyah rishona.
You guys will share. Okay. Oh, you have it. Great. Okay, wait, so I'm going to first give you this microphone.
Should I go over here?
Just a little bit. Yeah, slide over. Okay. Are we ready? Okay, step up to the microphone so everybody at home can hear you on the live stream. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai hamvorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai hamvorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amin. V'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai notein
ha'Torah.
Amen.
Amen. Okay, Via, you step back in here. Yep, you're going to start. That's after. Okay.
Vayakel Moshe et kol adat b'nei Yisrael vayomer alehem ele hadvarim asher siva Adonai la'asot otam sheshet yamim ta'aseh melacha uvayom hashve'i yiyeh lachem kodesh Shabbaton l'Adonai kol ha'oseh bo melacha yomaha lo tava'aru esh bechol moshevotehem b'yom ha'shabbat.
Well done. Very nice. Everyone come forward for the closing blessing.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'hayei olam natan b'tohenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Via hugs and kisses to everybody. Yeah. I love it.
The next part that Via will read is Exodus chapter 35, verses she just read that, verses 4 through 6. And for that aliyah, we'd like to invite up Ya'amdu, Lois Crucitti, Tom Crucitti, thank you, Corin Infantino, Vinny Infantino, Tommy Infantino, and Ben Infantino, La aliyah hashniya.
Ready to read Hebrew?
Okay. Does everybody have, here, you guys can share a page. We're going to read it in English together, okay? Yes, you're welcome, But you guys also can come forward to the microphone, or at least one person can come forward to the microphone. All right, so let's, 1, 2, 3.
Blessed Adonai, who is blessed.
Blessed is Adonai, who is blessed now and forever.
Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who has chosen us from among the peoples and given us the Torah. Blessed are you, Adonai, who gives us the Torah.
Amen.
Amen.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Vayomer Moshe el kol hadat b'nei Yisrael lemor zeh hadavar asher siva Adonai lemor kehu meitehem terma Adonai kol nediv libo yivi eha et terumat Adonai zahav v'chesef unhoshet utechelet ve'argaman v'tola'at shani v'shesh ve'izim.
Very nice. Well done. Okay, we'll do the closing blessing. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who has given us the Torah of truth, implanting within us eternal life. Blessed are you, Adonai, who gives us the Torah.
Amen. Hugs and kisses again. Hugs and kisses.
Good job.
Young lady.
Thank you. I don't know why I said thank you.
Well done, everyone. You can all be seated.
That was beautiful. For our next aliyah, I would like to invite up. You're ready to invite your parents? Oh, my mic's, no, it's on. For our next aliyah, I was just talking quietly. I'd like to invite up, I think, if you're okay with it, Via, I'd like to invite up your parents.
Come on, guys.
And I want to say something really special. So this year, probably in about March, I met with Erica and Via and Chris and Piper. And we gave Hebrew names to all 3 of the women, to Erica, Piper, and Via. So I believe, Erica, this is going to be your first time being called to the Torah by your Hebrew name, which means you're also becoming bat mitzvah today.
Whoa.
So,
You're going to have to drop out.
technically the moment, and Via, I'll tell you this in 2 minutes, so don't listen. Okay. Technically, when you're called up to the Torah by your Hebrew name for the first time, that's when you become bat mitzvah. You can also learn with us for many years, but this is when you become bat mitzvah. So we're inviting you up, both of you together will become bat mitzvah today.
What can I?
You can listen now, yes. For our third aliyah, Ya'amdu, Aluma bat Pinchas, V'gam Chris, La'aliyah hashlishi.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bakar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Verses 7 through 9.
Ve'orot elim me'od hashim batzei shitim, v'shemen lamaor, usamim lamashemen, hamishha, v'liktoret hasamim, v'avnei shoham, v'avnei miluim, la'afod v'lachoshen.
After blessing.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech ha'olam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chei olam nata b'tohenu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten ha'torah.
Amen.
Yasher koach.
Hugs and kisses. Good job, you. Yeah. Mom and Dad are going to stay right here. Stay right here with us as we call Via
Okay,
for her.
so Via, what I didn't just say to your mom at all, no, what I totally just said to your mom, was that the moment when you become bat mitzvah is not when you read the Torah. In fact, it is when you are called to the Torah by your Hebrew name as a bat mitzvah. This is the moment when I call your name and you read the blessing when you become bat mitzvah.
So then technically the Torah portion is just...
The Torah portion is the extra icing on the cake of the amazingness of who you are. If we told you that, you wouldn't do any of the work.
I probably wouldn't.
But the Torah reading, look, to do an aliyah, it would take you, 3 weeks to learn it.
Yeah.
We want you.
It was worth it.
It was okay. See, it was worth it. Mom and Dad, hear that?
I love it.
I mean, I've been going to this place since I was like 3 years
Right.
old.
It's
so-
all worth it because it demonstrates. If you just came up and said a blessing, it wouldn't be as powerful because you put in so much work and time and effort to get here, and we know that this really means something for you.
Yep.
Okay. You ready to be called up to the Torah?
Yep. Should I
Okay.
sit down?
No. No, you are good.
Sure, no, I just wasn't sure.
Ta'amod, 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 or chaya bat aloma, la'aliyat bat mitzvah. Go ahead and do that blessing for us.
Baruch et Adonai Hamorah.
Baruch Adonai Hamorach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamorah Leolam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher bahar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen.
Verses 10 through 12.
V'chol ha'am la'ev bahem yava'o v'ya'aso et kol hasher siva Adonai et hamishkan et dolo et misehu et kerasav et kerashav et beraav et damudav et adanav et ha'arum et habadav et kaporet ve'e paruhet hamasach.
Beautiful.
Koach.
Well done.
After blessing.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tohenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen. I love that big smile. Woo! More hugs and kisses. That was just beautiful. That was just beautiful. Mom and Dad can be seated. And Piper, we're going to invite you to join us up here as we lift the Torah. So in a moment, I'm going to invite everyone to rise. And our tradition is that we lift the Torah scroll and turn it around for all to see. So if you haven't seen a Torah scroll before, this will be your first opportunity. And then as I bring it down, Piper is going to help us dress the Torah scroll so that it is ready to be put back into the ark later in our service. Please rise. Vezot HaTorah asher sam Moshe livnei bnei Yisrael al pi Adonai biyad Moshe.
Al shlosha devarim
מחזיקים בה תומכיך מאושר חודש ימינו כקדם.
You all can be seated. In a moment, Via is going to read her Haftorah from us. Haftorah means completion. And the rabbis a long time ago determined that reading Torah wasn't enough. We needed our students to read even more. What they really decided was there was parts from our prophets that helped complement the Torah portion. So usually the Torah portion complements, or the Haftorah, the part from our prophets complements the Torah portion. However, a year ago, when Via was supposed to become bat mitzvah, her Torah portion fell right before Passover. And so, right?
Would have been much longer, right?
It would have been much longer. And the Haftorah is specific for the Haftorah that's the Shabbat right before Passover. What does that mean? The month right before Passover. Passover happens in a certain month in the year. Count back 14-ish days. That's the new month that leads into Passover. The Haftorah before that, basically what you need to know is it's a different Torah portion. It's all about sacrifices. And it's telling the people to bring the right sacrifices to the temple.
The one now or the previous one?
What you're reading is telling us to bring the right sacrifices at the right time. So even this one's connected to what you're going to talk about later, right?
Oh, cool. I mean, it's pretty odd because my Torah portion's about animal sacrifice and my Tekina Loan project was volunteering with goats. So.
Right. So I will say she's reading from the book of Ezekiel. Ezekiel prophesied around 592 to 570 BCE, so around the time of the destruction of the first temple and the exile to Babylon. And he's writing while in exile, basically telling everyone, stop listening to the false prophets and listen to me because I know what I'm saying. Okay, Via, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, go for it.
Praise to you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who has chosen faithful prophets to speak words of truth. Praise to you, Adonai, for the revelation of Torah, for your servant Moses, for your people Israel, and for prophets of truth and righteousness.
If you want to follow along, it's on page 1457. She's also reading the English, so you will be able to understand it. So if you don't want to follow along, that's okay.
All the people of the land must join the Prince of Israel in making this contribution. Then the prince's obligation for the whole burnt offerings, the meal and drink offerings on festivals and on new moons and on Sabbaths and on appointed festivals of the house of Israel will be this. He must prepare the purgation offering, the meal offering, the whole burnt offering, the offerings of well-being to make atonement for the house of Israel. Thus says the eternal God, on the first day of the first month, take a young bull of the herd without blemish and purify the sanctuary. Let the priest take some of the blood of the purgation offering and put it on the doorsteps of the temple, on the four corners of the altar's base and on the posts of the gate of the inner court. On the seventh day of the month, do the same thing for those who have sinned accidentally or through inexperience. Thus shall you wipe the temple clean. Yeah, got it. Praise to you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, rock of all creation, righteous one of all generations, the faithful God whose word is deed, whose every command is just and true. For the Torah, for the privilege of worship, for the prophets, and for this Shabbat that you, Adonai our God, have given us for holiness and rest, for honor and glory, we thank and bless you. May your name be blessed forever by every living being. Praise to you, Adonai, for the Sabbath and its holiness.
Amen. Thea.
Yeah.
Well done. As we say in Hebrew, Yasher Koach.
Thank
Way
you.
to go.
Thank you.
Up to now, I can take this off for a moment.
Okay.
up to now, you have read words that were written for you. Some of them by our rabbis from long ago, some of them maybe by Moses himself. But in leading our prayer service, reading from Torah and Haftarah, you read words that were written for you.
Cool.
Which is nice.
Yeah.
Now you get to deliver to your family and friends and to our congregation words that you, exactly, words written by you, words that you wrote yourself. This is what we call a Devar Torah. No Torah reading is complete not only without a reading from our prophets, but without a teaching, an interpretation by one of us. And so part of becoming a bat mitzvah, part of taking on the responsibility of being an adult in the Jewish tradition, is not just taking Torah into your arms, but understanding Torah and teaching it to others. So with this, we invite you to deliver your Devar Torah with a big, stand up tall, with a big smile, and slowly so that everyone here can hear and understand. I think I will preview just by saying I think this is a particularly creative and insightful Devar Torah that you are all going to love.
Okay. In the time when the Jews were departing Egypt, we were told to give gifts to God and thanks to God for freeing us. We brought our nicest, prettiest, handmade, and thoughtful gifts. We all came together to celebrate and give the gifts to God. Many crystals were mentioned throughout the portion. For example, lapis lazuli and the usage of the ephod and the breastpiece, which has crystals on it. Along with crystals, other natural materials were given to God, such as animal skins and incense sticks. All of these amazing gifts were used to create a tabernacle, or the tent of meeting in the middle of their community. We can envision that as a big party tent or where God resides. One thing I found interesting in my Torah portion was how the Israelites were literally giving back to God. God had contributed to their freedom, and the people took gifts that God had created and gifted them back to God. Then, we used crystals and other natural objects to show God that they appreciated God's help. Now, crystals are used for different uses depending on the person. I use them as fidgets, healing and helping. In the portion, it's also mentioned that they used incense. I use incense sticks as well to cleanse my crystals in space and to reduce stress. It never explained how the Israelites used it then, but I'm assuming they had similar use for it other than giving back to God. Similar to our people many generations ago, incense and crystals have intentions depending on the person using it. For example, cleansing, distressing, or meditating. It was no accident that I was giving a portion that circled around the usage of crystals and incense. Me being a spiritual being and someone who cares about the earth, I am happy knowing that my ancestor treasured and appreciated crystals as much as I do. My Tikkun Olam project was helping animals, which I relate to helping and nourishing the earth. Crystals to me have similar purposes. When I'm done with a crystal or simply just to charge it, I bury it in the dirt so it can reconnect with its beautiful home, the earth. Helping and being around animals has always been a calming thing for me, like cuddling with my puppy, happy birthday to Einstein, being around my friends' bunnies and geckos. It's like therapy for me and others, and ensuring that the animals can have that same effect on others is very important to me. That's why I've decided to care for the goats at a local farm. Included in my portion, an altar is a spiritual area where objects are kept. People have altars to practice their religion or spiritual interest. An altar is a good thing to have when it comes to whatever you're practicing, because it allows you to have a special place to channel and hold all of that energy. I myself have a place for my special objects. I define spirituality as the ability and feeling of being connected to the universe, as well as your religion and feelings. My connection to the earth and the universe is similar to a connection I would have with a friend or a significant other. Crystals, meditation, nature, reading, and being with animals helps me reach that feeling. I think spirituality is a beautiful thing that is truly something that exists in the world. Spirituality is important to me because it's not only a huge part of my life, but it helps me through my life. Judaism, to me, is a way to reach spirituality and connect to my higher self. The original Jewish altars where gifts were given to God and where the animal sacrifices were held. Now, the current Jewish altar would be considered the bima, where I'm standing today. This is where we keep our sacred objects, such as the Torah, the eternal light, the ark, the Kiddush cup, challah, and the candles. Both my altar at home and the temple's altar are full of special objects that I connect to, along with powerful energy that is fixated on the front of the room, emphasizing the power and significance it holds. The Torah portion is trying to teach us how it's important to celebrate God, God's gifts and creations, and everything around us, or for our own benefit while practicing our own religion and beliefs. All the gifts that we brought to celebrate and thank God circled back to the earth in one way, as do many other spiritual objects that are being used to this very day. Me being with the goats and caring for them is my way of giving back to God and the universe for everything they have both done for me. My Taquina Loan project is caring for the goats at our town farm, like I had mentioned. Taquina Loan means repair the world, and as a bat mitzvah, it's important to help and contribute to our home. To me, helping the animals and environment is a way of practicing spirituality and doing an overall mitzvah for the farm, the goats, and the world. Being with animals and helping them helps me feel like my best self, not only because it's helping them, but because it's helping me as well. Animals and the environment are a huge part of my life, and helping them is a huge goal for me. I've signed multiple petitions against animal cruelty and encouraging animal safety, and it's important that you do too. In the month of March, which is Women's History Month, I had brought the idea of starting a feminist movement to my friends, and gotten many girls and even some boys at my school involved, including staff. It was extremely successful, and to me, that is taking my power and taking a stand against sexism in the school system and in the world. Judaism inspired me to take a hold of that power and use it. The changes I was hoping to see would be the blatant sexism included in schools' dress codes, encouraging intersectional feminism, which is feminism that includes all minorities. Thankfully, a lot of well-needed awareness was spread and changes were made in the dress code. Sexism and misogyny is an issue women have been struggling with for generations. There are, of course, more changes that are needed in the world, and I hope to contribute to them in the future. Becoming a Jewish woman is a huge step for me in my bat mitzvah journey. Judaism and life itself. And becoming a bat mitzvah is the first step for me in that journey. I now have full responsibility over my Jewish identity and responsibilities, and I'm so excited to learn more about my religion and my people because I know that Judaism will help me be the best person I can be. I can't stress how grateful I am for the ability to celebrate despite these odd times, and I am so beyond appreciative for everyone here in person and virtually. My family has been so beyond supportive, and my friends have been here every step of the way. I truly lucked out being such a part of a Jewish community, such an amazing Jewish community that has supported my journey since I was just 3 years old, and was so supportive when I come out as gender fluid and queer in front of my whole Hebrew class, which was really scary for me. And I remember when I told Rabbi Friedman about me changing my name to Via, the support that I was shown made me feel really good about myself, and how Noah, my Hebrew school teacher and Rabbi Anby's husband, encouraged everyone in my Hebrew class to put their pronouns at the end of the name and encourage kids to educate themselves on the importance of pronouns and accepting others. So, yeah. Thank you all so much for being here, and I love you all. Yeah.
Via, that was just beautiful.
Thank you.
We love you too. And you can see there's a lot of love coming from your family and friends who are here. I'm going to invite you to be seated.
Okay.
I have a few words of my own with which to build upon the words that you just offered. I can't tell you how much I appreciate everything you said, especially those the final words that you just shared up here. As you said, Via, you've been a part of this place since you were 3 years old. Temple Israel has been your home. Two? Even better. Temple Israel has been your home for pretty much your whole life. I want to tell you that not only has this place shaped you in certain ways, you have shaped this place. Because you have brought every single day your full self, your full honest and true self, Via, to this place. And so I want to thank you today for a few different things, for three things in particular. First of all, I want to thank you for giving us the opportunity to get together and to celebrate. For almost 15 months, all of our gatherings, all of our celebrations, all of our happy occasions have been put on hold or onto Zoom or in some awkward and distanced manner. And we may not be 100% back to full, I'll call it normal gathering. We still have limitations on numbers of people and masks, but we're able to hug. We're able to be together in person, indoors or outdoors. We are able to be together. So thank you, Via, for bringing us together. We needed this so much. I know we rescheduled the date of your bat mitzvah a couple of times. If we had been doing this in March, we would not be here. Well, yeah, we kind of might have the same weather, but regardless, yeah, we definitely would have been on Zoom in March, okay? Let alone, so then we moved it to April, then we moved it to May, and the timing is just perfect to get together, to celebrate not only you becoming an adult in the Jewish tradition, but to celebrate life and health, okay? In a way that we appreciate like never before. So I thank you for this opportunity to celebrate. I thank you, Via, for bringing your own original creativity to Jewish life. That's what you identified in your Torah portion, that this is a craft project with extraordinary creativity, fabrics and yarns and threads and metal and wood and all different dolphin skins and ram skins, all sorts of different materials are used, not to mention the crystals. And can you hold that up? There you go. Okay, great. It's not lapis lazuli, but what's that? No, I want to hear. We should have given out crystals as like. You all got a crystal. You will get a crystal. Excellent. Can I have one too? If there are any left over, may I have? And Rabbi NB. Piper says there's plenty left over, and of course, rabbis, we can each have one. Thank you. That's wonderful. Okay, so first of all, I want to thank you, Via, for bringing your own originality and creativity to Jewish life and to Temple Israel, just as you identified, our ancient ancestors brought their own creativity to their worship of God. They brought all of these natural materials, and they together constructed this house for God. We think, it seems, from what you're teaching us, that the actual architecture was not as important as the beauty and natural essence of the materials and the personal creativity and intentionality that they brought to constructing this place. God did not dwell there because it was the biggest or the most elaborate palace. God dwelt there because God knew that everyone had brought their most honest, pure, and devoted gifts. And they brought their full selves to building this place. And they did it together. It was a beautiful tent of meeting, as you said. And there, at the tent of meeting, 3,000 years ago, we used to bring offerings. That's the translation of these sacrifices, offerings. I want to suggest, Via, that you bring your own personal offerings each day to your family, to your school community, and to Temple Israel. You offer of yourself honestly and creatively to build a better community. What are some of the offerings that you bring? Your thoughtfulness, your thirst for justice, and your creativity. One of the reasons that I am so proud to be a Reform Jew is that Reform Judaism, I believe, has really led the way in fighting against, pushing back against the sexism that has been part of Jewish tradition. Yes. You and Harriet had a conversation. I love this. Harriet is one of our bar and bat mitzvah tutors. She's amazing, and she's one of our teachers in Kesher, our Hebrew school program. She's been a part of your life for a while now, and she is an incredible teacher. And thank you, Harriet, if you're watching at home. Yes, absolutely. Thank you. So Harriet and you have talked a lot about how do we combat sexism and assumptions about gender and power imbalances, disequilibriums, etc. I am very proud that Reform Judaism has come a long way in establishing equity of individuals, of human beings. But we still have a long way to go. And you, Via, will help us get there by teaching us, including me, you will teach us how to create even more equity so that everyone can have a full voice and true power in our community. That is one of the offerings, one of the many offerings of creativity, thoughtfulness, and justice that you bring to our congregation and to Jewish life. And finally, I thank you, Via, for teaching all of us, including me. I've read this Torah portion many, many times. It's always seemed kind of like, dry. It's not so interesting. Yes, even for a rabbi. I'm not so into crafting. I didn't really personally connect with crystals, etc. In fact, I really never even thought about the connection between the lapis lazuli and crystals. But you have brought this Torah portion to new life for me. I will never be able to read Parshat Vayakhel again without thinking about the power of crystals and an altar, and what is the purpose of all of these natural materials that go into building God's house. I may not use crystals in exactly the same way that you do, but you are showing us, Via, that there are so many ways to be Jewish in our tradition, including the revival of certain practices that may be thousands of years old. You are able to read the Torah and say, I totally get what these guys were doing all the way back then in the desert. Even though your rabbi did not get it, you read it and you said, this makes perfect sense to me. They were reconnecting with the earth on which they lived. They were finding power in the natural objects around them, and they were using their creativity to connect to God and to worship God. You used the word spirituality a number of times. I think spirituality is a very difficult word because most people toss it around without really knowing what it means. But you and I talked a lot about spirituality. And I know that one of the most important things, Via, that you're going to take away from this bat mitzvah is a clear understanding of what spirituality means. Spirituality, as you explained, and as I will reinforce, is a feeling of connection to something beyond ourselves. We human beings can tend to be very self-centered. We're focused on our own needs and wants. We think we're the center of the universe, each of us. Spiritual practices, such as incense and crystals, prayer and worship, even reading Torah, even praying, taking care of animals, whether it's your puppy or the goats, healing the world, taking care of other human beings, these bring us beyond ourselves and realize that there is more to existence than just our own wants and needs and desires. That the most meaningful existence is one in which we are serving God by serving the entire universe, the earth, the animals, and other human beings. That is spirituality. A recognition that we are not the be-all and end-all of existence. So, Via, on this beautiful and significant day, thank you for being part of our congregation and our Jewish community. Thank you for pushing us, for teaching us, for bringing your full, honest self, your creativity, and your thirst for justice to our community, which is going to propel us forward. And thank you for inspiring us to see beyond our selfish egos and recognize that our existence is dependent upon so much more. Thank you for giving us a roadmap to find God and to live a spiritual life. On this, the day of your bat mitzvah, we all have so many blessings to wish upon you. And I'm going to invite in a moment everyone to rise and offer their own, in a moment, and offer their own silent blessings upon Via. Via, for you, I'm going to invite you to join me in front of our open ark so that I might offer my own blessings to you on this, the day of your bat mitzvah. Please rise. now join together in a blessing of thanksgiving. Shehecheyanu. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehecheyanu v'kimanu v'higianu b'zman hazeh. If you would help me. Oh,
nope. I invite you all to be seated for a moment. We turn to page 598. On 598, we have Mourner's Kaddish or Kaddish Yatom. And I love what the Crucittis wrote about this. Mourner's Kaddish allows both recent mourners and those marking the anniversary of death to remember and honor those who have died. On this occasion, these are the ones that we hold in our hearts today. Via's loving Poppy, Peter Brandenburg, as well as her maternal great-aunt Wendy, maternal great-grandfather Seymour Margolis, maternal great-uncle Stephen, and paternal great-grandparents Gram and Papa Lou Stefanelli. If there's someone else you're remembering today, I invite you to share their name aloud as my hand moves around the room. We rise and join together on page 598 in Mourner's Kaddish. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah. Ve'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei. V'chayachon v'yomechon uv'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehei Shemei Rabbah mevarach le'olam omei omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shemei d'Kudusha brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, da'amiran ve'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Osei shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved, as together we say,
Amen. Ose shalom bimromav, uyase shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru. Amen. You may be seated. Friends, what a beautiful morning together this has been. Thank you to all of you who have been with us for your participation here in our sanctuary. Thank you to all of you who have participated via our live stream, and of course to Rabbi NB and to Mike Lantowski and to our staff team here, Lisa Goldberg and Sean and Eric, who are helping us, Lester and Troy and Jesse as well. There are two more really important people who want to share their own words with you, and that's Mom and Dad, okay? So we're going to invite the three of you to come forward to your podium. And Via, I'm going to invite you to stand facing them so that they can share their own words of congratulations and mazel tov and blessings with you.
Hi, sweetie. Hi. Before I begin, I want to mention a special thank you to Rabbi Friedman, Rabbi NB, and Via's Hebrew and Kesher teachers, Howard Altman, Noah Bressler, and Harriet Blitzstein. Thank you for helping to guide Via along this journey to her bat mitzvah. We are also extremely grateful for Via's support outside of this temple walls. oh my God, these temple walls. Christine, Micah, Missy, and our dear friends who are all joining us virtually today. Thank you for all being an enormous pillar of strength and support in our lives. Sweet Via, I know this is going to come to you as a surprise, but there have been a lot of events over the past 13 years that Dad and I have felt very unprepared for. Through the years, we have tried our best to keep you on track and remind you that you are loved and supported each and every day. We've certainly had our challenges, and not every day is perfect, but there is no mistaking that you are a pretty remarkable kid. So much of who you are today is because of choices you have made and adventures you have chosen to embark on. Dad and I have tried to guide you, but there have been a lot of decisions that you have made independently that we simply cannot take credit for. Looking at you right now out here, looking at you right now at your COVID bat mitzvah is a perfect example. At no point were you pushed to be here. Not once did we have to negotiate to get you to write your Devar Torah or to be on time to your Zoom Hebrew school or to your tutoring sessions. This was 100% you. When you started at Temple Israel at 2 years old, you walked through these halls like you owned the place. When you graduated from the fours, you said to us, I want to learn everything there is about being Jewish. With a mom who's a 2-time Hebrew school dropout, yes, not once, but twice, and a Roman Catholic father, it's very clear that we cannot take credit for this decision that you made when you were just a little toddler. You have carried that choice with you through 8 years of Hebrew school, and look at you now. This was your mission. The icing on the cake is that you found a deep and meaningful connection to your Torah portion, which somehow proved that it was meant to be yours, even though we had to change your bat mitzvah date 3 times thanks to COVID. As parents, we have 600 different emotions in one day. We're afraid, we're happy, we're surprised, and today, most of all, we are proud.
Don't stop crying.
We are beaming with pride, and I know that if your papi was here, he'd be sobbing like he did the first day he got to hold you in his arms. Via, thank you for continuing to be true to yourself, even though life and the world around you has presented you with challenges. We know that we don't tell you every day that you make us proud, but please hear me loud and clear. As I stand up here, in front of your family and virtually in front of our closest friends, and say to you that you make us so proud, and we love you deeply. Mazel tov.
Hey, you're gonna make me cry.
Proud of you.
Well, Via, you are a blessing to your parents, to your sister, to everyone here. Careful. Before the ceremony, you signed a certificate that said you indeed commit to doing all of the things that you talked about. Tikkun Olam, participating in the life of the synagogue. And so in order to help you with that, we have a gift for you.
Oh, wow.
This is a Kiddush cup, so that you can have your own Kiddush cup to celebrate Shabbat. You'll get one too, don't worry.
One day. You're just trying to see it. There we go.
It looks like this. Just no, there's a box.
It's my box.
It's your box.
I got a box.
Woohoo! You got a box. You get to open it now. I just thought you
Can't wait
want.
to drink grape juice out of my box. Place it on top and drink
It's a beautiful Kiddush cup for you to use to
Thank you
celebrate
so
Shabbat.
much.
And
I
then
open it now?
that.
And here's the certificate, which we are
I'll
showing
save
to
it for
demonstrating
later.
to every. This is your certificate.
Now.
Mazel tov.
To begin the celebration that says you've done all this and you're now done, we're going to invite your entire family over to this table to lead us in Kiddush and Motzi.
Piper, you too.
Family.
Come on forward. Just like you. No, grape juice. What? It's white grape juice. It's white grape juice.
Wait, I just said grapeful juice.
Grapeful. There's such a thing. Yeah. So you have the little blessing right here at the front.
This
Piper,
time I'll actually say it.
Piper, you have the other one. Hold on one second before you do anything, and I'm going to turn this microphone on. Oh, it's on. Dad, maybe you'll hold it. There we go.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam borei pari hagafen.
Amen. You can each take a sip and give some to Mom and Dad.
It's really strong.
Yeah.
Ew.
It's just, it's very sweet.
like very
Okay, but now you have a challah, okay? So you can take the cover off the challah, grab that knife, and cut a few slices for your family as we sing, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem
like me very much.
B'te'avon. Siman tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, siman tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, siman tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, siman tov. Yeilanu, 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 Ulevot Yisrael. Yeilanu, Yeilanu, Ulevot Yisrael. Yeilanu, Yeilanu, Ulevot Yisrael. Yeilanu, Yeilanu, Ulevot Yisrael. Siman tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, siman tov, siman tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, siman tov, siman tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, siman tov, Yeilanu. Congratulations, Mazel Tov, and thank you for bringing us together for this very joyous occasion. Here's to many more celebrations together. Shabbat Shalom to everyone. Thank you for being here, and Mazel Tov. Happy birthday to Einstein, of course. Of course.